Is the Criterion flash sale going to happen? That's a question that people are asking on the internet today, because we're into the second week of March and there still has not been a Criterion flash sale. For those that don't know, Criterion do a 50% off sale across their entire range on their website for just 24 hours. And this is usually a time when many people go and buy a whole load of Criterions. It's a big deal for a lot of people because I know that people wait for these sales to actually buy most of their Criterion discs. So I really hope it's going to happen. And it may well be that by the time I've edited and uploaded this video, Criterion might have launched their sale, which would make most of what I've just said absolutely pointless. So let's keep our fingers crossed that the Criterion flash sale does happen this week. If it does, I have some recommendations here for you for some of Criterion's 4K discs, which I particularly have liked. So one of the 4K discs that I would recommend picking up in the sale is one of my all-time favourite movies, The Red Shoes, from Michael Powell and Emmerich Pressburger. This is one of Criterion's 4K upgrades because it had been in the collection for many, many years on Blu-ray. So to see it get a 4K upgrade was music to my ears because it genuinely is one of my top 3 films of all time. The story follows this young girl who wants to be a world-class ballet dancer, and she ends up joining the ballet, but it is run by this very strict director, and he really wants to mold her into the perfect ballet dancer. But when she ends up falling in love, it calls into question whether she is as devoted to the craft as the director wants her to be. If you're thinking to yourself that you have no interest in ballet whatsoever, then I am with you. I don't have any interest in it besides this film. But this film isn't really about the dancing. It is about these characters and the struggle between them. One of the main reasons to pick this up is because The Red Shoes is such a vibrant, colourful movie. I think it's one of the best colour films ever made because of Jack Cardiff, the cinematographer, who was a master of the 3-strip Technicolor process. All of his films look absolutely beautiful. And on the 4K disc, the HDR technology with the Dolby Vision grade really does make everything look pristine, and it's just the best this film has ever looked. I've said recently about how I wish that the 4K upgrades had some new special features, which they don't, which is a shame, but nevertheless, for one of my all-time favourite films, I had to get this, and the presentation did not leave me disappointed at all. One of the bigger releases from last year that I'm sure many people will pick up during the sale is Raging Bull, the Martin Scorsese movie. This was a huge success last year. It looks brilliant and sounds brilliant, and for me this is one of the modern classics that just needs to be in my collection. This one is absolutely stacked with special features, with multiple audio commentaries and all sorts of things about the film itself. So I just highly recommend anyone getting this. I think the only downside to this disc, something that was a bit of a letdown, is that there's no Dolby Vision HDR on here. There's just a standard HDR grade, which is a shame because the film is in black and white. And, you know, it could have been perhaps a touch better if it had that Dolby Vision grade, but it doesn't, sadly. Nevertheless, it's the best the film has ever looked. It's a great film, really riveting from start to finish, and one of the great boxing films for sure. Now for one of my all-time favourite French movies, Le Circular Rouge from Jean-Pierre Melville. One of the finest heist movies of all time. I just absolutely love this and the 3 central performances in the movie. And the 4K disc, this is a controversial one because I think the 4K disc looks great. The clarity in the presentation is brilliant, and I think it's a very enjoyable watch on the 4K disc. Where it gets controversial is that the restoration, which was done by Studio Canal, is one of those where the colours in the grade are highly different to how it has previously looked. So it calls into question, you know, is this how the film should look, or should the colours have been reverted back to how they looked on previous releases? I think this is one of the main issues in film preservation and restoration today. You know, the colour grade of these movies, should they be changed over time, particularly if there are filmmakers still alive who are involved and are saying that actually the colours should have been different. So it's a very controversial topic, and for many people they have avoided picking up this disc because of all of the talk around the colours not being correct. The thing is, while the colours may not look how they should in this restoration, it's still not a reason to skip over watching this film in brilliant 4K quality. So for those reasons, I still recommend this to anyone who loves a good French crime movie, a good heist movie, a very stylish movie. I absolutely love this one, and Jean-Pierre Melville, one of the greatest. I have another Scorsese movie on 4K, The Last Waltz. This is the concert movie looking at the final performance of the band before they went away, and what a great show it was, and thank God that it was recorded and that we can watch it today. I think this is one of those 4K discs that has been somewhat neglected since it was announced, and I think that's because people think of this as a concert film, so you think of music being the most important thing, and you don't really think of the visuals. And obviously the nature of 4K is a very visual thing. Of course, audio can be improved on a 4K disc, but really it's looking for improvements in visuals where we kind of come to this format. But I must say that the 4K restoration of this film looks absolutely stunning. Very filmic, the grain is beautiful, and it's got Dolby Vision HDR on this disc. So it's just a perfect presentation and a very enjoyable film with so many great musicians who joined the band during this last performance. So highly recommended from me. One of the films that joined the collection on 4K was Shaft. And this is an iconic movie. Everyone knows Shaft, everyone knows the theme tune, and what a great disc this is. It looks stunning on the 4K with the Dolby Vision HDR color grade, and it sounds great as well. And it's just a very enjoyable movie. There's a reason that this is such a cult classic and has such a big following. What's great about this as well is there are tons of special features in the package, but also on one of the Blu-ray discs inside here, you also get Shaft's big score. So it's a great deal, especially during sale time. It's a really fun movie and one that I love watching late at night. Just a fun experience. So Shaft, I'm sure many people have got this in their collection. I'm sure everyone's pretty much seen this movie, but this is one that I recommend upgrading to. This was one of my favourite 4K discs from last year, Double Indemnity. What a classic. Billy Wilder's classic noir movie. It very much set the tone for a lot of movies that came after it. Just searing dialogue, a perfect script, and brilliant performances from Barbara Stanwyck and Fred McMurray. There's a bunch of special features, there's audio commentaries, there's new interviews which have not been on any discs before, and the film looks stunning on the 4K. Black and white can look so good on 4K, and I know there are some naysayers who say they don't see the point of 4K for a black and white movie, but it can just do so much. So this is a fine example of what you can get out of a 4K black and white presentation. And I have to give a big shout out to The Piano from Jane Campion, the Palme d'Or winning movie, stunning cinematography, iconic piano music in this movie, and brilliant performances from the central actors here. A look at this strange arranged marriage where the two people in the marriage just don't get on. It's a film that looks at repression and feelings that can't be expressed properly, and also the nature of isolation and being in a completely different location to where you're used to, and how that can really affect, you know, your well-being and your mental state. So a brilliant film, one I love revisiting, and on the 4K disc it looks superb. There's also a bunch of special features here, and this was an addition to the collection. This had never been in the Criterion Collection before, so I was very thankful when it got announced. So hopefully we do get that flash sale. It might have even started by the time this video is uploaded, so Fingers crossed for everyone who is looking to get some new Criterion discs. If you enjoyed hearing about all of these Criterion 4K discs, then click the video that's on screen right now. It's my entire Criterion collection where I talk a bit about each film there, hundreds and hundreds of movies, so there should be some recommendations for you from that video. Thanks very much for watching, and I'll see you soon.